What is going on today, guys? We are back for another guide video in Darkness Falls. Now today we're going to be testing out mining tools. Now with the mining tools we are going to be testing them out on diamond blocks, and the reason for that is they're not as high of HP as the titanium, uranium, or plutonium blocks, but they are more than rock blocks are, or stone blocks. And they're also not a regular ore block, which is 600 HP, because there is a chance to one-shot any ore block once your mining skill hits a certain level. So we're going to go with diamond blocks, because that should be like the perfect medium for us to test it on. So as you can see, I pulled these out of the creative menu again to test this, and we have our 7 tools here, which we are going to be testing it out with. So I'm just going to get some stuff moved around here and get all these things put right up here just like so. And now we're going to go about testing this. So you'll have to excuse the noise from my cats if you guys can hear it. But anyway, we're just going to set these down just out here on the road where we've been kind of working with the cars and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll take a one-shot swing at each one, and then we're going to go about and completely clear out one behind it. So you'll notice that it doesn't really have much of a different texture versus the road. This is basically what they'll look like if you happen to come across them. Now, so far, I've only managed to find one spot on one map where I have ever seen this. So, with that in mind, I don't know that I will ever see one again, and I'm not 100% sure that they actually do exist outside of a point of interest that I found them in. So anyway, let's get rid of the rest of these diamond blocks here, and I'm just going to get myself a couple storage chests so we can check out each one as we go here. I will just use the storage boxes and get them placed down in here. Alright, just like so, and get rid of the rest. There we go. Alright, so first up we have our scrap iron pickaxe. Now, if you guys remember, or if you guys seen the salvaging video I did on the comparison between mining tools and the wrenches, you guys will know that the scrap iron pickaxe is basically the lowest tier for a mining tool you can get as far as the pickaxes go. So we're going to test that out, see what base damage it has. Now, I'm not using mods in any of these tools, but mods will significantly impact the damage you do on the blocks if you have them in. So let's start out with this one here. And you'll notice it does 90 damage. So 90 is not too much, and you'll notice we only got one stone, which I'm not sure makes a lot of sense coming from a diamond tile like that, instead of getting any diamonds out of that. But anyway, 90 damage. So now we're going to take out a whole node of it. And okay, I guess you do get a chance to one-shot these as well. If we run across any one-shots over here, we'll just have to try again. But anyway, so for a full node, 21 rocks, 9 diamonds. Not too bad, considering diamonds are quite expensive, and not only that, but you need them to make the diamond blade mod, which is right here, which increases durability of the mining tool. So it's a very good mod to have. But anyway, let's continue on with this. We're just going to drop this first tool off in here. Now we're on to the iron pickaxe. Now the iron pickaxe is the next tier up as far as like step up in mining tools. So it's very cheap to make. You can get this very early game. It does considerably better than a scrap iron pickaxe, but we'll go through at the end and we'll compare all the tools and go over each and every one of them like such. So anyway, let's check out the damage with this. So you'll see it's 126, and this time, for the amount of damage we did, we got 1 stone and 1 diamond. So not too bad. But now let's clear out this complete node over here, and find out what we get for a total, and we're going to go ahead and compare to see if the harvest amounts differ. Alright, so that is it for that tile. Now as you can see, we got 22 stone and only 6 diamonds. Now how does that compare? It is 1 more stone, but it's less diamonds. Diamonds are going to be the random part of this. The rock is going to be like your test thing for this, as far as what you're going to compare. So the diamonds are kind of like the crafting components in the vehicles. It's going to be a random-ish number, but the rock is going to be what your consistent number is for this. So anyway, on to the steel pick. I'm not sure what's roaming around over there. Something's running around. Anyway, hopefully no interruptions from any zombies or stuff today. That's the only thing I'm worried about here. But anyway, so we're on to the steel pickaxe. Steel pickaxe, considerable step up from the iron pickaxe. Not only in damage, but resource cost and when you can unlock it. But again, we'll go through more of that later on. Let's test out the damage on this and see what it does. So, 220 damage. And you'll notice we got 2 stone, 1 diamond from 1 swing. So again, considerable difference. But it has its own pros and cons, I'll call it, to each tool. So again, we'll go through more of that later on, but let's check the harvest count with this and see how it differs. Alright, so we got the one shot there as it was going through. But anyway, you'll notice we got 23 stone and 11 diamond this time. So now you'll look back at here and go, this was 22 and 6, but this was 21 and 9. So we're comparing the stones, not the diamonds. We're comparing the stones. So as you guys will notice, the harvest amount does increase as you go up in tier. But does that follow through with everything? And where does the chainsaw or the auger, the steel auger and the titanium tools play into effect there, which we will get to as we go along. But next up is our next pickaxe, which is the titanium pickaxe. Now, this is a considerably later game item than the steel pickaxe for sure. But let's test out the damage and see where it sits. Okay, so it actually one-shot that node. Now, I'm not sure if that was a legit one-shot hit. We're going to go ahead and test that and make sure. Whoops. Pop back into here. And we're going to grab ourselves out our diamond blocks again. So just to make sure, because sometimes the tools like this actually do have enough damage to one shot. So let's test it again. But no, it's not. It's a 300 damage. So now we don't actually even have to complete that node over there because we have our end result. But anyway, from one hit, you get 4 stone and 2 diamonds. So again, we are definitely moving up in the tier of the weapon, the mining tool. And it does play considerable effect on harvest amount. So we're at 30 stone with the titanium versus 23. So it is a step up, and again, the diamonds are random, so pay no note to them, but the stone is what you want to consider. So now we're going to be testing the steel not the chainsaw, good lord, the steel auger. Now, this is something you'll that's basically the power tool comparable to the steel pickaxe. So technically speaking, we should see the same harvest count from a full harvest as we did with the pickaxe. But let's see. So here's the one shot. And you'll notice it only does 62 damage per one shot. But that's offset by the fact that it can actually do a lot. It can do a lot of attacks per minute. But again, that's something we'll compare later on. This is just to test the harvest count. So anyway, let's get through this block here now and see what we get. Okay, so I accidentally hit the ground there, so we'll have to actually retest that. But that's okay. We'll just chuck these down here for now. We have extra blocks for a reason, because that'll happen. You get that one shot hit, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're into whatever is behind it. So let's try this again. And, okay, I hit the gore pile, which I shouldn't have, but that's not going to affect this. So you got 23 and 9. Now, where does that stack up against the steel pick? As you'll notice, the stones are exactly the same. So the steel auger is definitely on par for it being the steel tool. So the extra 2 rocks we got here were from accidentally hitting the road. But anyway, let's now move on to the titanium chainsaw. Now the titanium chainsaw, unlike the steel counterpart, has the properties of a chainsaw has the properties of an auger when it comes to mining. It can mine dirt, rock, and any ore, any sort of metal, like when you're salvaging as well. So it basically takes on the properties of an auger in that regards. Unlike the regular steel chainsaw, which is just good for wood, this is actually good for all sorts of mining. Now, as far as preferability goes between the chainsaw and the auger, the chainsaw can do more damage when modded out, but it's also a lot louder, and it's got a smaller fuel capacity. So there is a trade-off. I mean, it's kind of a personal choice when you're picking between the chainsaw and the auger at titanium. I get both just because I feel like I should use one for one and the other for, you know, the normal stuff. But again, it makes no difference. When it comes to the chainsaw, you can use the chainsaw for everything. So you could actually save your resources when you first get titanium and just make a chainsaw. But again, personal choice on how you want to do it. So anyway, let's test a one hit on this. And you'll notice it's 150 damage. So that's not too bad considering it's a power tool with as many attacks per minute as it actually has. So now let's actually go through and we're going to fully clear a block. So you'll note we only got 23 stone. Now, what's that mean? That means it's comparable to the steel tools, not its titanium counterpart as the pickaxe. So, as far as harvest amount goes, so far the titanium pickaxe is the front runner. But we'll go through the comparison as far as like everything stats wise and, you know, efficiency and stuff like that in the end here quick. But let's finish up here with the titanium auger and see if it actually differs from the chainsaw at all as far as harvest amount. So one hit gives us 150 just like the chainsaw, which is what I would assume. But let's see what a full harvest on a block does for us. Alright, so one hit, and again, 23 stone. So it is exactly on par for a steel tool. Now, what does that actually tell us? You know, it does less damage than it does less harvesting amount, or less harvesting efficiency, I'll call it, per block than the actual titanium pickaxe. Now we're going to pick everything up and compare them and see how they rate compared to each other. So let me just kind of get rid of all that crap. We're actually only going to take these. We'll get these all organized and we'll compare the stone amount. Now again, the diamonds are negligible because they're a crafting component that's gonna vary because of RNG in the game. So when you're actually harvesting with it, you can't look at the random component of it. You got to look at what you would consider the constant in it. Okay, so we have everything picked up. Now let's do the comparison. So you guys will note that the scrap iron pickaxe does the least harvest count, whereas its titanium counterpart of the melee tool does the best. Now, again, negate what you see with the diamonds because that's going to be random based on the blocks you hit. But you'll notice that the titanium pickaxe does significantly better as far as harvesting versus any of the other tools. So, what you can draw from this conclusion is if you're looking for overall harvest amount, the titanium pickaxe is what you want. But how does the titanium pickaxe stack up in efficiency versus the others? Let's actually take a look at the stats. So we're going to be checking out durability, attacks per minute, stamina, and block damage, because the melee and power attack are only for hitting like a zombie or an animal. So anyway, starting with the scrap iron pickaxe versus the iron pickaxe, the iron pickaxe does 12 more block damage, it swings faster, and it has more durability. So overall, combine that with the harvest amount different, and you definitely, in my opinion, you should definitely switch to the next tier up so far. Now let's go for the iron pickaxe versus steel. Now, the steel pickaxe does about what? I'll give it about a 75% boost as far as block damage goes. It does cost more stamina, and it does less attacks per minute, but it's also got a double durability boost as well. So it's another 1600 on top of the already 800 from the iron pickaxe. So it is considerably better as far as block damage and durability goes, but it's slower to swing, and it's going to cost you more stamina. Now, again, this would be a personal choice thing, but it's up to you to decide whether you want something that'll drain your stamina a little more, or if that even matters to you, and how many swings per minute you can get, and if that really matters to you. Because in my opinion, with the difference between the harvest count, the block damage, and the durability amount, that's more than enough for me to make the switch. And the reason for that is I don't really care how much the tool drains my stamina. If I'm out using it for harvesting, like for instance mining and stuff, I'm not going to care about how much it drains my stamina. You're going to drain stamina when swinging a melee tool regardless, unless you spec into the right skills for it. So I'm not too worried about that. The attacks per minute is basically negated by the fact that it does so much more block damage for me. So in my opinion, it's an easy step up to go from the iron pickaxe to a steel pickaxe if you had the choice. Now, mods will definitely affect your decision too. If you had a very low tier steel pickaxe versus an almost perfect tier iron pickaxe, and you had the mods, well, the iron pickaxe would probably do a lot more damage than the steel pickaxe then. But you got to kind of compare the grade, like what grade number it's on, how many mod slots it has, and how many mods you can actually put into it. So, you know, there's a lot more factors than just the base block damage and the base durability of it. You'll also have to figure out the mods you can put in it as well. So that's not something I'm going to be covering in this. This is just for base tools. But anyway, now let's move from the steel pickaxe to the titanium pickaxe. Now, overall, the titanium pickaxe is all around better, with the exception of it being even for attacks per minute. So, you get the boost to the base block damage. It costs you less stamina, and it has twice as much durability. So, with that in mind, including the harvest count amount, it is an easy choice to take that step up. But you also got to, again, factor in quality, grade, you know, the mods you can put into it, if you can have access to the titanium to even make it. You know, resources are going to affect if you can make it or not. Quality and grade is also going to affect the mods you put in it. So again, this video is not for that. It's just for base damage with it. But looking at the base damage, if everything's completely the same as far as grade wise on it, it's an easy step up. So now we're going to take a look at the power tools versus themselves. Now obviously this is going to be a pretty easy comparison. Going from a steel auger to a titanium auger or even a titanium chainsaw, it's an easy switch. 100% it's an easy switch. I mean, without a doubt. Because you'll notice that this um, only has a max durability of 12,000. It's got base block damage of 20, fuel capacity of 300, and attacks per minute of 300. Melee damage is only what you're going to do against the zombies. So if you compare that versus the titanium counterpart, it does over twice as much damage. It has better fuel capacity and double the durability. Easy switch for me if you have access to the resources to do it. So by all means, an easy no-brainer to go to that. But harvest count remains the same for all of them. So let's compare the titanium auger to the chainsaw. Now this is where it gets tricky. As a base tool, the auger has the advantage. And the only reason for that is because of the fuel capacity. That is absolutely it. Now what's kind of weird is the fact that a titanium chainsaw can actually do more damage modded out than a titanium auger. Why? I don't know. But, I guess that is what it is. So it's kind of personal choice which one you'd want to go with. Better fuel capacity, slightly more damage. Harvest count remains the same. So, again, it's dealer's choice on there. For me, I use both, and I'll actually use both when I'm mining too sometimes. But, again, dealer's choice there because the difference is pretty negligible. It's not like the titanium chainsaw does 200 extra damage or 100 extra block damage. No, it's a slight difference, so it's not enough to really make you sway to that. But the fuel capacity on the auger is definitely better. So how often do you want to refill your auger, or your chainsaw? Again, it's really a negligible difference. But now let's compare the titanium pickaxe to the power tool counterparts. So you'll note, obviously the stats don't show right, but the auger does 300 attacks per minute, and it has no stamina cost. It does half the block damage. Plus, it has way more durability. But if you factor in the harvest count, I still think the power tool wins in this fight. And I will explain exactly why I think that. Because the fact that the pickaxe is, less than a sixth the speed to harvest with, it more than makes the auger or chainsaw more than makes up for the lack of block damage by being able to attack so much faster. Now, there's also the fact you might want to choose the pickaxe if you don't want to deal with screamers. And the reason for this is all power tools create heat map count. And when you increase your heat map count, I think it's called the heat map count. Anyway, when you increase the amount of heat that you put out, it attracts screamers. Now, if you want to deal with screamers, don't care about having to deal with screamers, power tools are an easy choice. You're not worrying about stamina. You're having to use gas, but gas is not too hard to get. So you're not using your stamina. You have way more durability on it. You can cut through the blocks so much faster. In my opinion, it wins. It wins every way except for the fact that, like I said, you got to use gas and you have to deal with screamers with it. Otherwise, I think for me, at least in my opinion on this, is it's an easy choice for me to go to a power tool over the manual tool just because of how much quicker it attacks. So it more than offsets the damage difference. Now we'll actually compare the steel ones as well. So let me actually click on the pickaxe here. Now the block damage here is completely different. Whereas the titanium versions are half the damage. The steel auger versus the pickaxe is considerably less, but it still has the attack per minute edge over the pickaxe where it's enough to offset that. So you could still clear through material quicker with the auger versus the pickaxe any day of the week. Again, you don't have to use stamina. You need the gas though. and the durability is just that much more. So, you know, it's if you don't want to deal with the screamers again, or you don't have gas, then yeah, of course, you're going to want to go for a melee tool. But as far as, you know, the difference in harvest count between these two, there's no difference. So I think that's an easy one. Whereas if you're too concerned about the harvest count with your titanium tools, you may want to use the pickaxe. But in my opinion, seven material per block is not enough of a difference to make me want to use a melee tool over that, because I could more than make up the difference using the power tool because of how fast you can go. So that's my opinion, and these are the overall findings from what we have for today's video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of this, let me know in the comment section down below. We can always revisit these topics or do a little more digging into them. We can also try fully modded ones as well and compare the difference there too. So let me know your guys' thoughts and overall opinions on this. So thank you guys so much for being here. Next video we are going to be looking at harvesting with the axes, I believe. Either the axe or the shovel is what's next. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys are enjoying these guides, make sure you guys smash that like button. Comment down below. Remember, any thoughts or opinions, concerns on these videos. If I'm not addressing something quite right for you guys, let me know, and I will try to take care of that as best as I can. So if you guys are enjoying these videos, make sure you guys take the time to subscribe to the channel and trigger those notification bells so you guys never miss out on any videos. So again, thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll catch you for the next one.